For the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow was the blueprint. Drafted first overall, battled through injuries, took the team to a Super Bowl, earned the city's loyalty, and then kept getting hit, over and over. This wasn't supposed to happen again. Not another injury. Not another season hanging in the balance. But here we are. Turf toe, surgery, 3 months minimum on the sideline. And suddenly the Bengals' carefully constructed future is unraveling faster than a primetime lead.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Everything in Cincinnati runs through Burrow. The offense is tailored to his strengths: deep routes, timing windows, rhythm-based decision-making. When he's out, the machine stalls. Jake Browning's presence under center is less a solution and more a white flag. Burrow's injury didn't just knock him out of the lineup. It exposed the fragility of the entire franchise structure, which makes the Shedeur Sanders trade demand all the more seismic. Here's a quarterback with real tools: calm in the pocket, sharp field vision, deep ball accuracy, just sitting in Cleveland, watching his career get delayed by whispers and politics. He wants out. He's ready to play. And the Bengals? They're desperate enough to finally listen. Shedeur isn't a gamble. He's a calculated investment. A future starter with the traits that mirror Burrow's strengths and the health to actually stay on the field. His style fits the Bengals system like a key in a lock. Fast reads, clean mechanics, and a willingness to take risks when the moment demands it. Add in the fact that he's been learning under a microscope since day one, and the learning curve shrinks even further. The real problem? It shouldn't have taken this long. The Bengals should have been planning for Burrow's physical decline years ago. This is a quarterback who's taken some of the most brutal hits in the league since his rookie year. ACL, wrist, calf, now turf toe. At some point, durability stops being a footnote and becomes the headline. And that headline is screaming for reinforcements. If the Bengals don't act now, they risk wasting a roster built to win today. The weapons are in place. The scheme is set. The locker room is hungry. But without a quarterback who can handle the pressure and stay healthy, it's all smoke and mirrors. Shedeur Sanders just gave them an out. Not just a Band-Aid, but a real shot at preserving what's left of their title window. If they pass, they're not just risking the season. They're risking the next 5. Joe Burrow was the future. But football doesn't care about plans. It cares about action. Joe Burrow is out. Not benched. Not questionable. Out. And not just for a game or two. This is a confirmed surgery required. 3-month absence thanks to turf toe. A brutal injury at the worst possible time. The Bengals season, once packed with playoff promise and Super Bowl ambition, is now teetering on the edge of total collapse. This is the kind of injury that doesn't just sideline your quarterback. It can derail an entire franchise trajectory. The Bengals built everything around Burrow. Their offensive scheme, their cap strategy, their locker room leadership. And now, just like that, they're left with a massive hole under center and no clear answer on how to fill it. Enter Shedeur Sanders. And not quietly. The talented young quarterback from Cleveland isn't sitting silently, hoping for a break. He's demanded a trade. Officially. Publicly. And if there's one team in the league that should be sprinting to the phones to make a deal, it's Cincinnati. Let's break this down. First, the urgency. There is no bigger quarterback crisis in the NFL right now than what's happening in Cincinnati. The Bengals aren't a rebuilding team that can afford to tank. They're not a mid-tier team hoping to squeak into a wild card spot. This is a roster built for a championship run. Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, an improving offensive line, a young, aggressive defense. This is not a team that should be handing the ball to Jake Browning and crossing their fingers. And no disrespect to Browning, but let's be real. He's not the answer. He's a placeholder. The kind of quarterback you use when your starter misses a game, not when your entire season is hanging by a thread. The Bengals don't need a body under center. They need a playmaker. They need someone who can stabilize the offense, stretch the field, and keep the locker room from unraveling. Shedeur Sanders fits that description perfectly. Let's talk about what Shedeur brings to the table. This is a quarterback with NFL-level arm strength, high football IQ, and rare anticipation. He throws with timing. He reads defenses with maturity. He's shown he can lead, even when everything around him is falling apart. He demonstrated all of that under a national microscope at Colorado. The noise, the pressure, the expectations. He handled all of it and still delivered. And yet, despite that resume, he's stuck in Cleveland, waiting for a franchise to give him the opportunity he's already earned. Cincinnati, this is your moment. With Burrow out until at least mid-December, you have a window. A rare one. Bring in Shedeur now, and you give him the time to learn the playbook, build chemistry with the receivers, and integrate into the system. You don't have to throw him in cold. You develop him with the intention of deploying him when it matters, either late in the season or earlier if Browning underwhelms, which feels more like a when than an if. This isn't just about patching a roster hole. This is about seizing an opportunity. Because make no mistake, Shedeur's not going to stay available forever. He's not going to sit and wait politely while a quarterback-needy team figures out whether they're ready to act. If Cincinnati doesn't step up, someone else will. And when they do, the Bengals will have to watch from the sidelines as another franchise takes the exact shot they were too hesitant to fire. But there's something else going on here. Something deeper. If this were purely about talent and fit, the trade would already be done. But it's not. There's a growing sense that league politics are at play. That maybe, just maybe, Shedeur is being quietly shut out. That his name, his confidence, his family background, specifically being the son of Deion Sanders, has made him more of a target than a priority. Let's be clear, Shedeur has done everything right on the field. He's shown up. He's delivered. He's earned this shot. So what's holding teams back? Is it fear of the spotlight? Fear of the headlines? Fear of disrupting a fragile QB hierarchy? If that's the case, then the issue isn't with Shedeur, it's with the league. Because when a young NFL-ready quarterback demands a trade and the most quarterback-needy team in the league refuses to make a move, something doesn't add up. And if you're the Bengals, and you know all of this, what exactly are you waiting for? This is a moment that could define the season, maybe even reshape the franchise. Because Burrow's injury history is no longer a fluke. It's a pattern. This is now the fourth major physical setback of his young career. A torn ACL, a wrist injury, a calf strain, and now a toe that's bad enough to require surgery. The toll is building. And if Cincinnati doesn't begin preparing for a future where Burrow isn't always available, they're gambling everything they've built on the hope that his body will hold up forever. Hope is not a strategy. Shedeur Sanders, on the other hand, is. He's a ready-now quarterback who could back up Burrow this season, fill in if needed, and develop into a long-term insurance plan, if not something more. The Bengals wouldn't have to overhaul their offense. They wouldn't have to reset the locker room. They just have to bring in a player who wants to prove himself and already fits the scheme. A quarterback who thrives on deep throws and timing? That's exactly what Cincinnati needs in a system built around vertical threats like Chase and Higgins. A quarterback with poise in the pocket and quick decision-making? That's exactly what you need behind an offensive line that's still finding its rhythm. And yet, silence. Every hour that passes without a move raises another question. Are the Bengals playing it too safe? Are they paralyzed by loyalty to Burrow? Are they afraid of media backlash? Or are they just waiting until it's too late? If they let this moment slip away, if they ride this thing out with Jake Browning and finish 7-10, watching their championship window shrink, there will be no excuse. Everyone will look back and say, the trade was right there. Why didn't you take it? And when Shedeur ends up elsewhere, maybe in the NFC, maybe in the AFC against you, and he starts carving up defenses, you won't just be watching a star rise. You'll be watching your missed opportunity in real time. That's what's at stake. This isn't just a quarterback discussion. It's a test of Cincinnati's front office. Are they bold? Or are they reactive? Are they forward-thinking? Or are they stuck in tradition? The answer to that question may define the next 5 years of Bengals football. And if you're Shedeur, you're watching all of this unfold. waiting, ready, knowing you could help a team, knowing you could change the trajectory of a season. All you need is someone willing to believe. Right now, the Bengals should be that team. So what will it be? Do you take the shot? Or do you wait and regret it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Should the Bengals go all in for Shedeur Sanders? Or is this just another case of the NFL protecting its comfort zone instead of betting on actual talent? Drop your take below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives, drama, and breakdowns on the wildest stories in sports and pop culture. Because in the NFL, opportunity doesn't knock twice. And in Cincinnati, the door is already halfway open. If the Bengals don't act, what happens next isn't a mystery. We've seen it before. High hopes fizzle. The team stumbles through the middle of the schedule, dropping winnable games. The energy in the locker room fades. The defense starts to feel the weight of carrying an offense that can't move the ball. Jamar Chase starts getting visibly frustrated on the sideline. T. Higgins starts looking like he's already halfway out the door. And by the time Burrow is ready to come back, it's too late. You can't afford to be reactive in this league. You don't wait until the season is over to realize you should have done something. And this right here, this is the something. This is the exact kind of moment where bold franchises make franchise-changing decisions. Let's talk value. Right now, Shedeur Sanders' value is at a strange intersection. He's proven enough to draw interest, but because he hasn't been given a legitimate NFL start, teams are still acting like they can get him without paying a premium. This is a rare window for the Bengals to grab a potential future starter for backup-level cost. You don't have to give up a first-rounder. You don't have to mortgage the next 3 drafts. What you do have to do is act. And that's the part the Bengals haven't done. Even stranger is the fact that Cincinnati is in the perfect position to do this. They're not rebuilding. They're not desperate long-term. They just need a solution right now that could turn into a serious asset later. They have the personnel. They have the infrastructure. And they have the need. So why the hesitation? Is it fear of controversy? Is it the pressure of making a move that will put the media spotlight squarely on them? Is it Burrow's status in the organization being seen as too untouchable? Let's be honest. Bringing in Shedeur Sanders isn't a betrayal of Joe Burrow. It's a protection of his legacy. Think about it. If the Bengals can bring in Shedeur, win a few games, stay in the playoff race, and give Burrow a real shot to return without having to save the season on his own shoulders, that's respect. That's giving your franchise quarterback a chance to heal fully, instead of rushing him back out of desperation. Not making a move? That's where the disrespect starts. Because then you're putting everything back on Burrow. Rushing him, pressuring him, leaning on a quarterback with a surgically repaired toe and a history of devastating injuries to carry a team that hasn't won in weeks. And you think that's going to go well? Let's talk about something else people aren't saying out loud. The AFC North isn't forgiving. This is the division where every game feels like a bar fight. The Ravens are rolling. The Steelers are unpredictable but always dangerous. Even the Browns, with all their issues, aren't pushovers. You can't tread water in this division. You can't afford to go 1-3 in a 4-game stretch and expect to claw your way back. The margin for error is razor thin. If you drop winnable games while waiting for Burrow's toe to heal and Browning to figure it out, by the time you try to right the ship, the season will already be lost. Now let's be real, this is also about Shedeur Sanders' career. Because while this move is urgent for the Bengals, it's personal for him. He's done what he needed to do. He's proven his talent. He's shown patience. And now he's spoken up. Loudly. Clearly. He wants the chance. If Cincinnati steps up, it's not just a chance for the team to salvage the season. It's a chance to rewrite a narrative that's slowly starting to suffocate Sanders' trajectory. It's a chance to let a rising star take the field and do what he does best. But if they let this pass, if another team swoops in and takes him, gives him reps, lets him grow, and he becomes what a lot of people think he can be, then the Bengals will have to answer for that. They'll have to answer to their fans, to their locker room, to every analyst who said this was the move, and they didn't make it. Let's also not pretend this wouldn't shake up the league. If Cincinnati makes this deal, they don't just get a quarterback. They shift the power dynamic. Suddenly, other franchises are watching. Other front offices are questioning their decisions. Other young players are realizing that they can speak up, they can push for opportunity, and that someone out there will listen. This could be a culture-shifting move. Not just in Cincinnati, but across the NFL. And what if it works? What if Shedeur comes in, plays solid football, wins a few key games, and the Bengals sneak into the postseason? What if Burrow returns just in time, fully rested, and they ride that momentum into a real playoff run? What happens then? That's not just a salvage season. That's a statement. That's how you build reputation. That's how you attract free agents. That's how you go from maybe to dangerous. But it all starts with this. With acting now. With recognizing the window while it's still open. Because if they don't, then this season goes down as the year the Bengals waited too long. The year they had options and chose none. The year they let fear and inertia cost them everything. So here's the reality laid bare. Joe Burrow is out. Jake Browning is not a long-term answer. The Bengals are in must-win territory. And Shedeur Sanders is available, willing, and ready. There's no more time to debate. Make the move. What kind of team do the Bengals want to be? That's the question hanging over this entire situation like a storm cloud. Do they want to be the bold franchise that adapts in real time, pivots when it matters, and keeps pushing no matter the adversity? Or are they content being the team that's always almost great? Because that's what this decision represents. A fork in the road. One direction leads to calculated risk, potential reward, and a chance to keep their season alive. The other leads straight to irrelevance. And make no mistake, irrelevance is looming. Without Joe Burrow, this team doesn't have a margin for error. Every game that passes without a capable QB under center is a game closer to missing the playoffs. You can't scheme around that. You can't coach your way out of that. You solve it or you suffer the consequences. And those consequences go beyond wins and losses. If you're Jamar Chase and you got to run 80 routes a month with no real shot at making plays, that frustration builds. If you're T. Higgins, already eyeing free agency, and you watch your offense sputter and stall every week, that departure becomes a certainty. The locker room knows when a team has lost its pulse. You can't fake urgency to a group of professionals who see every single decision from the inside. Bringing in Shedeur Sanders shows urgency. It sends a message that says, we're not giving up on this season. We're not punting until Burrow comes back. We're not accepting average. That kind of message? It matters more than any coach speech or press conference. Because it's action. And in the NFL, action is everything. Let's not get it twisted. Shedeur isn't just a quarterback looking for a new home. He's the quarterback in this moment who fits what Cincinnati needs. His game fits the Bengals system. His arm fits their playstyle. His temperament fits their locker room. And his availability? That's the rare part. Quarterbacks with his skill set aren't just sitting around waiting for a phone call. Especially not ones who are ready to contribute now. And while we're here, let's talk about what Shedeur himself is dealing with. Because it's not just a matter of being overlooked. It's being actively passed over, while lesser quarterbacks are trotted out across the league every single week. We've seen it. We've watched games where teams with real playoff hopes trot out players who can't throw a deep ball, who can't read a defense, who panic under pressure. And yet, they get start after start. Why? Because they're safe. Because they've played within the system. Because they don't challenge the unspoken rules. And that's the core of this story. Shedeur challenges the system. He doesn't just want a shot. He expects one. And he's not wrong for that. He knows he has the tools, the mechanics, the leadership, the poise. And he knows that if he were anyone else, maybe with a different name or a more passive approach, he might already be suiting up for someone. But because he's confident, because he's vocal, because he comes from a high-profile background, it feels like the NFL is waiting for him to prove something extra. What more does he need to prove? He's already showing he's ready. He's already saying, "Give me a playbook and a receiver, and let's go." And the Bengals? They're one of the few teams that could actually make it happen right now and benefit immediately. Let's also acknowledge the elephant in the room. If another team takes a chance on Shedeur and he thrives, that spotlight will swing back to Cincinnati. Fast. Because this is the moment. Right here. Right now. The Bengals have a reason. They have the need. And they have the opportunity to be first. They can be the franchise that saw the moment for what it was and made the move no one else had the guts to make. Or they can be the franchise that waited, hesitated, and watched a talent they could have developed go off somewhere else. And let's say the worst-case scenario plays out. Shedeur doesn't live up to expectations. The chemistry's off. He's not quite ready. Fine. At least you tried. At least you didn't sit on your hands. At least you sent the right message to your roster, your fans, and the rest of the league. We don't let opportunity pass us by. You can recover from a trade that doesn't pan out. What you can't recover from is a season wasted in silence. A team full of playmakers standing around while the front office shrugs its shoulders and waits for a miracle. This isn't about headlines. This isn't about hype. This is about function. The Bengals need a quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback. And right now, the price is right, the timing is right, and the need is undeniable. So what is stopping them? Because if the answer is politics or pride or fear of criticism, it won't matter when they're sitting at 5-8, eliminated from the playoffs, wondering what happened. This move should have been made already. The tape is there. The talent is there. The fit is there. And the consequences for inaction? Those are coming fast. So let's ask one more time. What are the Bengals waiting for? Because every second they delay is another second wasted in a season that won't wait for anyone. And if they're serious about being more than a one-man team, if they're serious about winning, they need to make a call. Now. And for everyone watching this unfold, week by week, injury by injury, quarterback struggle by quarterback struggle, you know how this ends if nothing changes. You've seen it before. You've felt it before. So sound off in the comments. Should the Bengals be the ones to take the risk? Or are they playing scared while someone else swoops in and gives Shedeur Sanders the opportunity he's already earned? Drop your take. And if you're here for this level of drama, strategy, and behind-the-curtain tension, subscribe. Because in this league, the best stories aren't the ones we make up. They're the ones playing out right in front of us. And right now, this one's too real to ignore.